So now I'm going to connect this digital storage oscilloscope with the computer so that I can get entire front panel of the oscilloscope into my computer. So for that I have to enter its IP address, and the computer and the system is to be connected through a LAN cable, and its IP address is, I'm entering its IP address. You can see the IP address at the by pressing the utility button on your oscilloscope. You will get 169.254. So now I have got the the web page of that oscilloscope I have connected. Now I have to select the remote front panel. I'm using the remote front panel. I click here, remote front panel. So now it is acquiring the data from the system. So now I have pressed the utility button, right? So you have a utility button here. You press the utility button, and you can select from the soft switches. We have IO here. So I am going to select the IO, and that gives me the IP address of this device, where which I can get a remote control over this uh, oscilloscope. Okay, and select the back button, or there it goes. Now I have given an input of an test signal to the input of the channel 1, and the channel 1 is selected. You can see this channel 1 is selected, and if I select channel 2, since I have not given any input to the channel 2, I couldn't see any signal from the channel 2. And the channel 1's measurements are seen here. So if I press the measurement button, I have pressed the measurement button. What kind of measurement, what is the source? For me, the source is the source is channel 1. So I'm doing the measurement. You'll have a measurement button here. I press the measurement, and you have given what type of measurement I have to. So you click it, you will get, you have to count the number of cycles, and you have to count the average cycles in the screen, or you have to find the DC RMS value, or you have to find the period of the signal. So I put period, I select the period, and add measurement, right? Add measurement, I add period of the signal. I select it. Now it measures the period of each pulses. Not only the period, we can also measure the uh, other time parameters like width of the positive, right? Positive pulse width is 500 microsecond, and we can also negative pulse width, negative edge of the pulse, how many seconds it is. And also the other measurements what we have is duty cycle. We can measure duty cycle, right? We can display four values. It gives a 50% duty cycle. That is, it's almost have equal time period for both the positive half cycle and the negative half cycle. And also the other measurements what we have is negative duty cycle rise time. It can measure the rise time. It can measure the fall time. It can measure the delay between two signals, and it can measure the phase, and it can and and also it can measure peak to peak voltage, what is the maximum voltage, what is the minimum voltage, average amplitude, what is the peak voltage, what is the negative base voltage, what is the overshoot time, and over pre-shoot voltage. And all these relate, whatever the measurement we require with respect to electrical signal can be done with the help of this oscilloscope, and we don't have to do it manually. We can measure it by time to time. Okay, and also we can the signal is runs now. We can stop the signal, and we can analyze. So which is very difficult in doing in DSO. We can just stop the signal, and we can do the measurements. We can do the measurements with respect to the we can do measurements with respect to the we can do measurements by freezing the signal, and then we can do measurements, and we can manually measure, and it automatically measures whatever it is required. It can do measurements. And one more thing we can do is we can do some mathematical operation. So I press the math button here. So if I press the math button, so what I get a function f of t. What is the operator we have? We have multiple operators. We can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fast Fourier transform. So these are the basic operation that can be done on a signal. So here, when we take the fast Fourier transform, the input signal is approximately a 1 kilohertz signal. So I have to make the center frequency as 1 kilohertz. So I take it as a 250. It is actually showing 2.5 megahertz. I am reducing it to 1 kilohertz. So now the center frequency is 1 kilohertz. The span shows 5 megahertz. With respect to center frequency 1 kilohertz, 5 megahertz is a bigger window. So we have to reduce the span. So now I am choosing the span and I am reducing it. And I'm reducing it. Now we can see a center frequency and its harmonics, right? This is what we have learned in a Fourier series. You have any periodical can be represented as its weighted sum of harmonics, right? So this is the first harmonic, third harmonic, fifth harmonic, and seventh harmonic. If you remember the Fourier series of a rectangular pulse, will have only odd harmonics. Even harmonics will be equal to 0. You can just refer your signals and system, where we have seen after taking Fourier transform, we can see multiple harmonics are there. So you have this one is the fundamental frequency, and this is the third harmonic, fifth harmonic, and it will goes, and we can also uh, reduce that. We can see other harmonics also, so its amplitude will be reducing. Okay, so this is what this is very uh, useful this is one of the useful mathematical operation where we can utilize in analyzing a modulated signal. Okay, so when you studied about the amplitude modulation, you might have studied about the carrier upper sideband and lower sideband. I don't know, you might have seen it when the theory is start, but you can visually see it. What is the upper sideband? What is the carrier frequency? What will happen when upper sideband is suppressed? What will happen when double sidebands are carrier is suppressed? How it is created? How its spectrum will be created? These all can be visualized, and also this results can be stored. So these real-time results can be stored. Either it can be taken as an image, or it can be taken as a CVV file, where it can be utilized for further design or further analysis. These the signals can be stored, and for that we have a save button. And if you want to store, what is the type format you have to store? You have multiple formats. That is, you have a 24-bit BMP file, PNG file, CSV file, ASCII XY data, reference waveform data, multi-channel waveform data, binary data. So depending upon what tool you are going to do the analysis, we can have the file. If you want to access through MATLAB, CSV could be a better option. You can store it in the CSV format, or otherwise you have to put it in a report in the form of images. You can store it as a bitmap image file like bitmap or PNG or so on. Okay, that depends. Or otherwise what we can do is, by using this interface, we can capture the screen image, right? So by pressing this button, capture image, you can capture the screen image, and that will be displayed here. Okay, and that image, the data related to that signal is displayed here. This can be kept as a This can be kept as a kept for reports or output for records. You don't have to waste your time by drawing the signals, or you can when complex signal has to be drawn, we can directly take the printout and we can add it as a report, or we can put it in your project report or something. We don't have to draw this, or you don't have to take a photograph of this. Whatever the format you needed, it can be converted or it can be downloaded as wanted. Okay, so these are the advantages of using this digital storage oscilloscope. And uh, I think it will be very useful when you are learning the communication systems laboratory. You'll be able to extensively use this DSO when you come to the laboratory. Thank you, students, and all the best.